So we're here today. Simon, thank you so much for coming down.
Pleasure.
You are obviously a descendant of the original LJ Nicolls, who started Nicolls Bats.
I am.
And I'm a descendant of H.J. Gray, who started Grays. So we've got the two for the first time ever, I think, or
Right.
for a long time. We've got a Gray and a Nicolls together in Robertsbridge.
Yeah, it's fascinating for me to come back and not only to meet you, but to see the factory today.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's something that's been at the back of my life. Although I haven't spent any time in the business, I've always been aware of it and proud of it. The whole family is very proud of their association with Gray-Nicolls. But my wanderlust took me elsewhere, and I don't think Dad was particularly disappointed. He'd always been a village lad, but I don't think he found actually running a business in Robertsbridge terribly satisfying. But what else he would have done, I don't know.
So were you brought up in the village?
No. I was born in Watlington.
Oh yes.
Just
the Royal Oak.
Well,
Royal Oak?
yeah, actually the other side of the village, up the hill.
Okay.
I think it's called Park Lane. Okay. It's nearer Vine Hall than.
Yes.
And Dad built a house in 1936 for his bride, and it cost him all of £1,800, including the water diviner.
Wow.
But so yeah, I spent the war years there. Was bombed out of a nursery school in battle.
Right.
And then my parents decided that schooling was more important than their house, and we moved down to Hastings, St Leonard's.
Oh right, yes, yeah.
And Dad used to commute out to Robertsbridge from St Leonard's. And so I used to come out really about, not every Saturday, but Saturday mornings I used to come out, and when the factory was more or less closed down, and got to play in the wood shavings, make a nuisance of myself.
And that was here, or
that was Nickel Toys and up at Coveling.
Coveling as well. Yeah. So we're now obviously at 150 years of your great grandfather starting the
great grandfather Levi.
Grandfather. Yeah. So do you have sort of any recollections of your father telling you anything about him, or how it started, or?
Well, little snippets, Richard. I mean, there's he was orphaned at the age of 21, and so I never got to know his parents. So I really knew more about the Bridger side of the family. And I can remember him, driving past Penshurst and saying that, his great, I get these relationships mixed up.
Too many great.
His grandfather, his great-grandfather had been head gardener there.
Right.
And his grandfather had been a cricket bat maker, which is why they came down to Robertsbridge.
And we thought at the time it was probably the Duke's factory, which was up at Penshurst at that time.
I think it must have been Duke's that he was working at. Although there were a lot of cricket bat makers around the Tonbridge area, weren't they?
There were, yeah.
But he was,
Balls, yes, indeed.
But he would likely have been working at the nearest one.
Yes.
Which would have been Duke's.
Yes. And he came down here because your grandmother Mary Nicolls, was it?
Mary had inherited the business at the age of 23, and ran it on her own for a few years. With how many staff, I've no idea. But I wouldn't imagine more than 2 or 3. And so Percy, my grandfather, and George, my great-grandfather Bridger, came down to work on the High Street premises. And then Percy ended up marrying the boss.
Brilliant.
Good move.
Yeah, exactly. Very wise.
And my dad was their only child.
Right.
And he lost both his parents very young, so he inherited the business at 21, which is how Len Newbury came into the
Right.
as a partner.
Yes. And they operated together presumably until the war.
Yes, very much together out of the high street premises.
Yes.
I think Len was still living in Battle at that time. Dad was in Watlington, and even after the war, in the early years after the war, I remember they still owned the high street premises.
Did they?
But it was used as a storeroom,
Right.
really. I remember going in and just seeing loads of bats, and then out the back there was this enormous great shed that had been the factory itself, where I believe there was a disastrous fire sometime in the 30s, but I don't know anything about that.
Yes. And then obviously the war came, and I think that's when Grays got involved.
Yeah, that's right.
My grandmother had secured some war contracts, and there was a need for sports companies to get together.
The
fact that the demand had gone.
Right.
And then I think I'm right in saying that Don Bridger and Alison Gray, my grandmother, got together.
That's right. In a taxi cab, they say.
Exactly, in London. And formed Gray-Nicolls.
Yeah. Made some notes on the back of an envelope, no doubt. But
and then you remember meeting Keith Miller.
I remember meeting Keith Miller at the age of, I suppose, 10 or 11, 10, at Coveling, where he was visiting to pick out some bats for the rest of the season. And
there goes one of them.
Yes, and the Australians were playing Sussex at Hastings. And so I was very impressed with meeting Keith Miller, who was the Botham of his day.
Yes.
An enormous hitter. I watched the game he played in that day, and he hit a six that they said went out of the ground. Whether it was true or not, I don't know. But he was a big personality, you know. When my dad and I sort of took him in the car down to Hastings, he sort of seemed to fill most of it. You know, he was physically enormous.
Yes.
And he ruined the trip down for me by talking about baseball the whole way, saying it was the greatest game in the world. But yeah, that was
and he was
fun.
presumably one of the players who put Gray-Nicolls on the map after the difficult war years.
He was a big signing.
Wally Hammond being another.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, Wally Hammond bats, and because that's how you sold your bats in those days, I believe, was signing up these big names. And
yeah. I think we've got a Hammond one here, actually. There you go.
Oh, right. Yeah. I recognise the design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, do you have sort of any recollections of sort of the operation that you were talking about, the Willows, and how the company used to sort of work?
Well, snippets of recollections. I remember seeing them split the clefts with a mallet, and I remember being fascinated by the lathe winding the twine along the handle.
Yeah, we still do it that way.
And the pervading smell of fish glue.
Yeah.
So little snippets here and there. As my trip out on a couple of willow tree expeditions with my dad. But I didn't spend a hell of a lot of time in the factory because I was schooled away and lived away. So it was really here and there, school holidays.
Yes, yeah.
And then I went to boarding school at 13. And after I left boarding school, I went sailing.
Right.
much to my mother's disgust. She had ideas of having an engineer or a doctor for a son.
Far more fun, though.
Well, I had an itch.
Yeah, yeah,
I think Dad was more supportive than she was.
yeah.
But, so yeah, it was really only my younger years that I had any exposure. But it's just lovely to be here, and sort of seeing how the thing has evolved.
Well, yeah, it hasn't changed
Enormously.
Well,
With great credit to the Gray family, I have to say.
thank you. Yeah.
There's a lot of obviously business and marketing expertise has been applied that I don't think my dad would have had. He was village school education. I think he left school at 15, I think.
Right, yeah. But very much a team effort, wasn't it, with Len knowing players?
Yes, in those years before they died.
Yeah.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah, yeah. Very good.
So how did Grays get into the making cricket bats, having been tennis racket makers?
So H.J. Gray, who's the founder, was obviously world rackets champion, but he was also a very good cricketer. And he actually played for the 22 of England against an England 11.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Sorry, 22 of Cambridge against an England 11 on Parker's Piece in Cambridge in 1870 something.
Yeah.
So he obviously had a love for the game himself.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And he made bats for primarily the undergraduates in Cambridge.
Right.
And had a sports shop.
Right.
But I guess rackets was the main business.
Yeah.
Cricket was very much.
I'm not even sure how rackets relates to tennis.
Yeah. So we had the rackets, the tennis.
Well, rackets is a separate game.
A separate sport.
Yeah.
It was very like squash, but with a racket and a hard ball.
Oh, okay.
So very fast.
Yeah.
And obviously, eventually, squash took over as the main sort of game. But cricket sort of kept going. When Nicolls came along, we centralised all the cricket here.
Right.
And then subsequently bought Wisden's, the famous brand. And
oh, really?
Came down here as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that still part of the Wisden almanac?
So that was split away.
That was split away.
We used to be all part of the same company, but then that got hived off in probably the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then other brands was Shaw and Shrewsbury was another Nottingham brand. I remember them coming along.
Yes, indeed.
I think they joined the fold at the same time during the war.
Yeah.
So a lot of different converging stories.
Yeah.
Joining together.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was trouble making cricket bats and making any money at making cricket bats in the Second World War. The same thing happened in the First World War. Because everybody was in the trenches. And I've unearthed a photograph of a little shop opposite the High Street premises, Gray's High Street premises, called P.C. Bridger Bootmaker.
Oh.
And it's during the war years. And I can only think that Percy started another business as a fill-in. Yeah. I don't think it lasted long.
No.
And I have no idea what the boots were like.
But you got the photo to prove it.
But it is there. Yeah. I think I can identify the house even.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I think this constant make do and mend and adjust to circumstances.
Well, I'm pretty sure that in the Second World War, Maurice Tate, who was the Sussex and England cricketer, was the local requisitioning officer. Knew Len.
Right.
And that's how they got the Covelin site up the hill in order to produce materials for the war effort.
Okay.
Because
that would have been a big investment, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Presumably with a government subsidy then.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. That was easy, Simon, wasn't it?
Yeah.